हेलो नहीं हेलो 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 टेस्टिंग 1 2 3 for the next session hello hello testing hello 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 waiting for I am रंचे आ रहा मुझे
सर रिफ्रेश कीजिए.
हेलो 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 हाँ हेलो टेस्टिंग 1 2 3 हेलो हेलो
हेलो चेक हेलो चेक सर इस पे नहीं है क्वेश्चन किसी में नहीं है सर
आप नहीं जाओ उसको दे दो
सर ये बता मैं लगा देता हूं यहाँ से म्यूट कर देते फिर जब अभी बना सर की बातें सुनाई देने लगी
Hello, all are we requested to be seated. We will start the event in a while. Please, all of you requested to be seated. The people who are away from the auditorium, please come and sit. Anchor from the podium can announce. Swati madam, hello. Swati madam, please come on stage. नहीं सुनेगा
लोगों को जब आना है तब
अनाउंसमेंट अंदर आने के लिए
हेलो चेक
बाहर वाले लोग यहाँ बोला है।
हेलो चेक चेक
अरे चैतन्य ऑन स्टेज
चैतन्य
हेलो चेक हेलो चेक
Check
हेलो
one by
चेक हेलो चेक
yes yes it's okay
मैडम उनका नंबर नहीं यू हैव टू रिटर्न टू मैडम आप इधर मेरे को प्रॉब्लम आ जाएगी और रिस्की है ना मेरे को रिस्की है आपको क्या काम है वो करो पहले देखिए उधर बोल रहे थे बाहर नहीं किया
हेलो चेक हेलो चेक हेलो चेक
Chaitanya another two
हेलो चेक हेलो चेक हेलो चेक
இங்க வாங்க இப்போ முடிஞ்சிடுச்சு யாரும் நம்ம பசங்க சாப்பிடல அவங்க சாப்பிட்டோம் ஏன்னா இதுக்கப்புறம் வேஸ்ட் பண்ண
பிரேக்ஃபாஸ்ட் இந்த ப்ரீ லஞ்ச் டீ போஸ்ட்
Chaitanya यहाँ पे
ऑन करो नहीं 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 ऑन करो 27th डिनर वेलकम डिनर पोस्ट लंच इतना ही नहीं ப்ரீ லஞ்ச்
பிரேக்ஃபாஸ்ட் ப்ரீ லஞ்ச் டீ
அதை கொடுத்துட்டு அதான் சாப்பிடலன்னா சாப்பிட சொல்ல பசங்க அவ்வளோதான்
डायरेक्टर्स का एक रिक्वायरमेंट है वो बोलते हैं कि वो जो बैकलॉग है उसमें डायरेक्टर्स पैनल ऐसा लिखना है क्या डायरेक्टर्स पैनल डिस्कशन तो वो करके देखिए
देखो जल्दी ऐसे खाना लंच का है ना वो भी आएगा पता नहीं
हाँ क्या रात में भी है क्या हम लोग को मिलेगा
आपको दे चाहिए तो बोलो मैं करवाता हूँ लंच को ले गए थे क्योंकि आप सुबह आए थे और इसको भी पकड़ो क्या नाम है उसका
पोस्ट लंच
पकड़ो आपको एक लंच है, उसको एक लंच है।
दोनों एक एक ये दोपहर के लिए है।
दोपहर के लिए, दोपहर के बाद चाय के लिए, रात को मैं दे देंगे, ठीक है। उसके बाद मेरे पास आइए, मेरे पास काम क्या किया पता ही है, उसके बाद मैं करवा चले, ठीक है।
क्लास चल रहा है अभी उधर जाना होगा ना क्लास तरफ।
कहाँ जा रहा है, कोई कुछ नहीं जा रहा। 27 का पोस्ट लंच, ठीक है, 27 लंच।
चैतन्य
बोलो
अभी याद है
आएगा ना। एक मिनट ये
इसको
इसको
बाहर
काम आया है।
हेलो,
पोडियम
पोडियम है।
हेलो,
चल रहा पोडियम
चल रही।
कितना दिया
वहाँ पे 2 सनाइकर के और ये दूसरा ये बीच जाके बैक स्टेज जाके वो
हो गया, आप चल करके चलो।
खाना खाने
इसको दे दो, आज में दे दो, अदरवाइज होएगा। आशीष, आशीष,
Ladies and gentlemen, now we shall start with the directors panel discussion. It is my pleasure to introduce our panelists for today's insightful discussion on the topic, two-way internationalization, making India a global hub for higher education. We are privileged to have 6 education leaders and eminent academicians as speakers of this panel discussion. I would like to invite them on the dais. Professor Bhim Raya Maitri, Director, IIM Nagpur. Professor Pawan Kumar Singh, Director, IIM Trichy. Professor Harivansh Chaturvedi, Director, BIMTech Noida. Professor Rakesh Mohan Joshi, Director, IIPM Bangalore. Professor Anup Singh, Director, Nirma University, Ahmedabad, and Professor Ranjan Banerjee, Director and founding Vice Chancellor of upcoming Nayanta University, Hyderabad. Please join me in welcoming our distinguished panelists. Now, I invite Professor Deepak Kumar Srivastava, Director, IIM Ranchi, to kindly moderate the session and introduce the speakers.
माइक दे दो हाँ वहाँ पे
माइक बैक स्टेज रखे हैं सारे।
अरे तो
So very good morning.
5 चाहिए ना
I welcome all of you to director panel discussion. The theme of this panel discussion is two-way internationalization, making India a global hub for higher education. We have very experienced panel members in this panel. So my role is to moderate the discussion. Before we proceed, just would like to set the context and the boundary what we are going to discuss, and of course that would be followed by Q&A. Higher education, largely we are going to discuss about business school context, but of course because India is a country known for a biggest higher education system in terms of, university, central university, private university, and institutes of national importance. So we are going to cover other type of institutes also. But to start this, first we need to discuss what internationalization means, because internationalization of higher education is slightly different than internationalization of a corporate firm. When we talk about internationalization of a firm, essentially it would be kind of cross-border investment in terms of foreign direct investment, having on your operation or having kind of joint venture. While higher education internationalization, that largely is internationalization at home, because it would not be feasible to B schools to have foreign campuses, and only very few B schools or very few universities do afford to invest outside. So what we will discuss it, internationalization at home, how we can make internationalization being in home country, being in India. One more thing that we are going to discuss is the two-way internationalization. So essentially internationalization can be classified in terms of the direction of resource flow and in terms of the resource commitment. So resource commitment is investment or not investment, having foreign campus, there would be more resource commitment, and doing internationalization at home, there would be limited resource commitment. Likely, there is a classification of two-way internationalization, inward internationalization and outward internationalization, how resources come from different parts of the world, and how resources from, go from home country to other. So, because there is a background, in past couple of years, we have seen a lot of development in higher education space. There are significant development in terms of, higher education, the policy, which was given by University Grants Commission as well as Union Government. Couple of foreign universities have come and they started, campuses here. And formally they announced, and next couple of years, next year, likely they will start this foreign campuses. At the same time, there are Indian institutes, IIT, I think perhaps IIT is the first, institute, national importance institute. It started operations in African country, in Greenfield, this mode. And in addition to that, there are good number of, B schools in country, which are given by accreditation, which are given accreditation by ISDSI, ISDSI, and AMBA. And of course, that can also be considered one of the component of internationalization. So we will have a discussion, two-way internationalization, essentially internationalization at home, because that would be applicable to all the universities, all the B schools in country. We need to also have understanding on what are the components of internationalization. The major component is the student, which comes under student exchange, incoming student and outgoing student. And nowadays, many universities and B schools do have MOUs for student exchange, faculty exchange, incoming faculty, foreign faculty, and the faculty of institutes go to foreign counterpart. But the most important is the curriculum, because India is fortunate, and one of the advantage India is having of English language, and curriculum is something which is global in nature. Whatever we teach in classroom, which is standard, largely we use the cases published by the Harvard Business, Harvard Publishing House. We use the textbook, which are used across the country, across the world. Standards and the protocols like ISDSI, ISDSI, and AMBA, they have standards, and these standards are followed by B schools located or institutes located across countries. One major component of internationalization is the research collaboration, joint research. The partnership that has also emerged one of the component, because credit goes to online, and there are many institutes, they started or they are planning to start online degree in collaboration with the foreign counterpart. And of course the campus. So campus of course is something which needs more resource commitment. So these are some of the components of internationalization. Now when we discuss internationalization, we need to also have a kind of assessment of the readiness, whether we are prepared or not. And such readiness we can discuss or analyze from two different dimensions, the organizational dimensions as well as institutional dimensions. Institutional dimensions, both formal as well as informal, whether the home government or the host government do provide facilities, reasonable facilities, what kind of culture, rules and regulation. So this would be the flow, and what I am planning to do, sir, I would put a questions and request all the panelists to share the views for 3 to 4 minutes, and then we'll open house for Q&A, and then we'll go to next questions.
You can
Yeah.
do it.
So we'll start alphabetically, and the first question. So I will start this with Professor Anup Singh. And the first question is, what should be internationalization strategy for Indian higher education institutions?
Thank you, Deepak ji. First of all, I'd like to congratulate on your new campus. This is such a wonderful campus, and it has international touch, right? So if we want to internationalize, we have to be international in everything: facilities, faculty, students, curricula, pedagogy. But internationalization has another sense, that we have to focus on the West, right? We can't say that I will go to Middle East and I will internationalize over there. Of course, you can have a campus over there, but the intellectual power of management education remains in the West. And that means, Europe and North America. So we have to see how do we align with the West. We have to also see that there are two aspects of internationalization, hard and soft. The soft aspect of internationalization has been captured by the West. Most of the journals are coming from the West. The publishing industry is being controlled from the West. Cases are mostly being written over there. Games are being developed over there. So we need to ask ourselves that how we work hard on the soft aspect, right? The West has given us concepts, and we are mimicking those concepts. Now the time has come that we work on concept development, theory development, and knowledge development. Just opening, campuses in other countries would not help us. We have to be on the cutting edge of the knowledge. Only then we can become international. The second thing is, how do we give international exposure to Indian students? When American schools are so much dependent on Indian students, how they are going to send American students to India? There is no way. It is not possible. Right? So we should give international exposure to our students in form of internship, in form of sending them to American, Canadian, and European schools for a semester, and tell them what are the best practices. Now, we were talking about how we have become from a socialistic country to a semi-capitalistic country, now in the future a developed country. And it's very interesting. We may criticize the West, but whatever West is doing, we follow that over a period of time. So they have best practices. We need to learn from them. We need to educate our students in those practices, and also from best we need to move to the next, and that's where we can contribute. Thank you very much.
So Professor Anup Singh has narrated it very well, and the one key takeaway is the contribution to knowledge development. That can also be one of the KPI and the proxy to measure the internationalization or the degree of internationalization. Next, I request Professor Bhimrai Maitri ji. The same question, what should be the internationalization strategy for higher education institutions of India?
Thank you very much, Professor Deepak. First of all, congratulations for this conference, mega conference, organizing this new campus. So according to me, internationalization strategy, already country has adopted some of the strategies. We have exchange programs since many years. We also have exchange means student and faculty exchange program. India also has set up campuses in Singapore, Australia, and Dubai already BITS Pilani, SP Jain, and Manipal, and even IIM Indore. And IIFT was the first one to start its campus in Africa before IIT. So there are already the evidences and incidences of internationalization from India to abroad. It is already there before our national education policy. And we also have, I think last year, 2 years back, University Grant Commission published a notification for dual degree program, joint degree program, and tuning programs. And same year, All India Council for Technical Education, I was heading the committee. Similar line, we have again dual degree, joint degree, and tuning programs also AICT has announced. And some of the institutions, before that, they have started, for example, Management Development Institute, Gurgaon, 2006 started a dual degree program with ESCP Europe, which was, pointed out by Shiv Kumar as a first business school, that is ESCP Europe. So the tie-up of MDI was there in 2006 for International Business Program, 1 degree from MDI, 1 degree from ESCP Europe, that is Master in European Business. So that was there. There were, such incidences already there. They are already successfully running. But apart from that, if you look at the national, and as Anupji rightly said, publications, today we are lagging too much as far as Indian publication going abroad, from India to abroad. I think that is one missing part. So we all publish in ABDC categories and journals or whatever, the A star, B star. But who decides ABDC and A star? It is decided by AB, Australian or even American or ABS, Association of British Schools. These are all some of the, and we publish in large number of publications, Indian publication goes there than those country people. So now the time has come as a part of National Education Policy 2020, for me, a soft internationalization strategy is we should start publishing our journals and let international faculty, the best of the best publication should be, submission should come to India. So for that, one strategy should be all our institute of national importance, best universities in private sector, they should come out with their journals. UK kind of country, there are many thousands of journals, which is smaller than Gujarat. Why not India should come out with its own journal and let others should publish our own journals, and we should categorize our articles, our journals as a, our own Indian way. And that should be equivalent or better than that, maintaining the quality we should be doing. That is one soft strategy we should be doing. And apart from that, today, some of the institute, they go for global immersion internships. It is already happening, but it can also, intensification can be increased. And I know that there were committees set up, I think in one of the Internationalization committee, I think Professor Rakesh Joshi and Professor Deepak were the member, another committee, Professor Prashant Gupta of IIM Nagpur. So there are 2-3 committees were set up by the Government of India for internationalization strategy. And already you might have seen the notification has come and input, people are giving the input for internationalization. But some of the institutions are afraid of internationalization. What will happen to us if international universities come to India? One attempt was happened in 2011, and then it was dropped when Kapil Sibalji was the minister. But now the internationalization already, and 2 universities were announced in Gujarat, Australian universities, and probably this is just beginning, but many universities are going to come. And even IIM Nagpur, we are planning to set up our campus in Singapore, Southeast Asia. So many are going abroad, and many abroad institutions are going to come. Now the quality is the only way we have to stand up, and we should attract the best students and faculty and all those ecosystem. And that is the only way in future as a part of internationalization. It is 2-way, it cannot be 1-way. MNCs are already, the multinational companies, they come to India. At that time, people are thinking what will happen to our domestic companies. Now, we improved our quality. Same thing will happen for internationalization. I think this is the way we should be adopting. We cannot delay. Sooner is better. Subhasya Sigram, we should get into internationalization, and we should prove India can be a talent hub, Indian, because country is on the movement, and our gold standard national education policy has already announced. So this is the right time, and leadership of global leadership from China is going to come to India. India is going to lead the globe. This is the right time. We should hit the nail and we should get into internationalization. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So one important point Professor Maitre has highlighted, the Indian way of internationalization. Because as a matter of fact, internationalization depends on what kind of institutional arrangement country is having. India is having a different kind of business system, and different kind of resources, competitive advantages. So the Indian way of internationalization, that also we need to define, and the focus can be given on indigenous knowledge. The universities and the B schools may come up with their own journals, and more focus may be Indianized case study. I request Professor Harvansh Chaturvedi kindly share what should be the internationalization strategy.
Thank you, Professor Deepak Srivastav ji, for inviting all of us to your beautiful campus. My compliments to students who have got this international standard campus. You are the privileged few in India. I would like to make 2 or 3 points related to branding and marketing of Indian higher education and also the business education. What is the perception of the whole world about Indian higher education, quality of Indian higher education? Why 700,000 students went to USA in 2019 to take admissions and to get the higher education? Why our people are going for last 70-80 years to US for higher education? One major reason is US has marketed it very well. It has provided continuous messaging to the whole world that if you want to become a global businessman, entrepreneur, or educational leader, if you want to get decent jobs in multinational corporations, you have to come and to take admission in the Ivy League universities and institutions of America. So if we believe that in coming decades, two-way internationalization is possible, India can become a hub for higher education, we have to give attention in what way we are branding and marketing Indian higher education. Governments, I know that particularly from Spain, UK, Canada, Australia, their governments are taking deep interest for marketing their universities programs. Their embassies are working in close connection with private and public universities. I'm happy that now the government has taken a serious note of it. First step has been taken, I think 4 or 5 months back. Dr. Bhimrao Maitre was also present. The Study India portal was launched by Education Minister, Mr. Pradhan, and it was a right step, because those who want to seek higher education, they should get total information at one place. And they should be connected to the universities where they would like to take admissions. So government has decided, ministry has decided that only top 100 institutions pages will be created on that portal, and those who want to take admissions in top 100 institutions of India, they will be connected to the institutions they have applied. So I think this is a process which requires efforts for at least 1 decade. Our embassies and our commissioners are sitting all over the world, but this process has started. I hope that we have to continuously sustain that. Secondly, the Indian institutions which are eager to attract foreign students, they should do some soul searching, because you cannot expect that students coming from abroad, they will adjust to your set of disciplinary rules, your food practices, and your infrastructure. The foreign students require the facilities and the services as per their requirement. So I think this is very important. I think IITs and IIMs, central universities, they have good hostel facilities. Thirdly, I would like to say we will have to change our regulatory practices also. You cannot expect that our faculty in universities and in B schools can go abroad under the exchange program. They can attend conferences, but the universities and colleges where they are working, they will not support them. You need to give them 100% support, and it is not possible if there is restriction on the fees of B schools and higher education. If fees is 2 lakhs for an MBA program in a private B school imposed by the state government, no internationalization can be possible. So I think we have to give a serious thought that it will be a combined effort of the institutions, universities, private sector industries, and most crucial is, are we in position to give some job opportunities to the foreign students, say for 2 years? Why people are going to UK? Because the UK government is providing them some opportunities to get internship or job visa for 2 years or 3 years. Those countries which provide this kind of facilities, numbers of students increase sizably. I would like to conclude by saying this is a very important issue for higher education policy regulators, and we have to revisit our regulatory system, our rigid rules, and we have to think about giving quality education, and quality is not available on cheap prices. You need to give attention to this fact. If you want to take a thali of food, you can get it 100 rupees. In a 5-star hotel, it may cost you 5,000 rupees. So the price of any service should be determined by the quality of it. Rather, it should not be given to the hands of the regulatory bodies which take a very rigid or dogmatic view about deciding the pricing of the educational program. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So branding is very important component to making India a global hub for higher education. And sir has highlighted the importance of country of origin effect, how India brand can be made more strong, and so that foreign universities and foreign students would like to come to study in India. Thank you, sir. I request Professor Pavan Singh ji to share his view.
Thank you, Professor Deepak ji. I am very happy to come to this permanent campus of IIM Ranchi for the first time. And the question is, what could be internationalization strategy? And the topic under which we are discussing reads like this: two-way internationalization, making India a global hub for higher education. So we should not lose sight of higher education, because that is a bigger umbrella. We are not talking about only perhaps, because topic is like this, internationalization, making India a global hub, not for MBA education, your topic. So I will come to the topic. Few concerns I will express first. As far as technology, because there are so many subjects. We started this conference by offering our prayers at the lotus feet of Devi Saraswati, and Saraswati encompasses everything. First of all, I will go to science and technology. In case of science and technology, our best of the best institutes in the country, they are comparable with international standard. Fine. Come to management study, that is very popular, very sought after. In the field of management education, our chosen institutions, they can, let us say, have guts to stand by the side of top institutions of the world. But then we have many different types of institutions in the field of management. And as was said by Shiv Kumar ji, like many species are on the brink of getting extincted. Similarly, many management colleges, per day 1 or 2 are dying, as he said. And I agree with him, because in last 6 months, last 2.5 or 3 years, about 250 MBA students have disappeared. So I talked about engineering technology and then management. Now I will express my deepest concern and pain when we talk about higher education And dear students of IIM Ranchi and other places, don't think education only means management education. And here my pain is of deepest order. What is that? The field of not humanities but social science. Humanities is concerned with literature, language. Fine, I have nothing to comment on that because nobody can beat us on Bangla literature or Telugu literature. But I'm talking about social science. And social science comprises of political science, social, of course, let me count from economics because that you are more acquainted with. Economics, political science, history, sociology, anthropology, these all are social science. In the field of social science, our management students have exposure only of economics. But many of us, means lovely students, you might not have started expressing your, let us say, affection or love for subjects like sociology, philosophy, political science, etc. And I have to say that in these areas, India has gone far behind because many universities, they find that their admissions are not to the full level and many seats are vacant and people are not going for sociology and political science. Whereas I have to say, most matured students either should study mathematics, whatever you want to do. If you study any subject, every subject is equally matured. But sociology, political science also needs very matured level of students. Only leftover go to philosophy, but philosophy needs most matured mind. Anyway, so my concern is about social science. So now about internationalization, before coming to that, I would say social science has to be revived. Of course, sociology experts, they know that even publishing in good sociology journal is not a joke. It's very difficult to publish there. So those who know sociology, talk to them, go to them, and you find that how they actually explain the various fabric of the society. So these are some concerns which we have to address internally to actually stand up properly. Then we can talk about internationalization. Now coming to the concern of internationalization, and especially I will jump to, let us say, internationalization of management education. It is a stepwise process. And as Professor Harivanshji said, it will take around 1 to 1.5 decades before we arrive at a significant, let us say, we cover a significant distance. For internationalization, we have to come at the level of international standard. And let us not lose sight, sir, Brother Deepak Saab, that let us not lose sight of the topic which says two-way internationalization. Actually, it is trying to say person from anywhere has to learn best practices from anywhere. So India has to learn best practices available anywhere, and some of the best practices available in India, world has to also learn, because India, not because I am born in India, but I can humbly place to any audience that India has been custodian of universal wisdom from time immemorial. And the rest of the world has to learn from India also. Yes, we are learners, we learn from anywhere, but please see our own strength and whole world. We can invite to the whole world, learn something from this. For example, simple pedagogy, and about pedagogy we have various books also. But I'll tell you, a class on accounting will start. Professor is running to the class, rushing to the class. Students are rushing to the class. Each individual is coming to the class from a different world. World means whatever you are thinking, that's your world. You are thinking about something and you are rushing to the class of accounting. What was Indian pedagogy? Upanishadic pedagogy? Pedagogy was that first hold silence for 1 minute. Or do a prayer collectively so that all are on the same ground. Accountancy can wait for 1 minute. But once that plinth is ready, once that field is ready, actually getting education and giving education is like work of a farmer. You have to prepare the ground, and without preparing the ground, we start teaching accountancy or let us say any elective paper. So this is just a very, very minuscule example. So two-way internationalization means we should also be able to bring the best practices of India and give it as a gift to the whole world. But that requires tapas. Please, internationalization is not possible unless we do tapa and actually bring back the deep-rooted knowledge that we have. And we also are ready to learn from anyone. इसलिए किसानी का काम है एजुकेशन, या तो पाना या बनाना, क्रिएट करना नॉलेज या बताना. एसिमिलेशन, डिसेमिनेशन, क्रिएशन, एप्लीकेशन तब का काम है. ये करना होगा इंटरनेशनलाइजेशन के लिए. पहली बात. दूसरी बात, स्टेप वाइज प्रोसेस है. सो स्टार्ट फ्रॉम, लेट अस से, I'm not saying from low-hanging fruit. I generally don't like this phrase, low-hanging fruit. लगता है कोई लालची आदमी कुछ तलाश में है. But if I cannot touch that height, I must start humbly. So first stage is that, let us say, exchange of students that we are doing. But we are struggling at the level of exchange of faculty. Two things all B schools are capable of doing: exchange of students and collaborative research. But exchange of faculty, in the name of exchange of faculty, I am Tiruchirappalli is doing, as you know, because Professor Matri also worked there and Professor Srivastavaji was there. We have that International Week program where foreign professors come and teach our students. And in turn, we are also getting now offered to our faculty to some of the foreign universities to go and spend some time, 2 months, 3 months. That is happening. But more importantly, I was in MDI, sir, and you know, you referred about training program. That is of higher level order of, let us say, internationalization. So that is another stage, training program. And further stage is that how many students they come to study in your college. That is a really difficult task, but we have to go into that direction. And further next step is that how you go and establish an institution at a competitive place, not at a very, let us say, place which is very easy to explore. So these are stages. I will end this round. I'm sorry I was a bit longer because my concern was for sociology, political science, social science. They are the breathing subjects we have neglected like anything. I'll just say 2 lines. It is better to be original than to be a perfect carbon copy. These are 2 phrases I have just created here. It is better to be a bit defective original copy compared to be a perfect carbon copy. And secondly, that the outcome that you are searching for is directly proportional to the input effort that you are expected to put into. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So there has been an interesting debate in international business, gradual internationalization or born global. Because there are examples where the companies and established firms took multiple decades to go to global. And that process is step-wise internationalization or globalization. But of course, because of technology, born global and other things are also possible. Sir has highlighted 2 interesting points. One, we need to also take advantage of indigenous knowledge, so that will help to make two-way globalization. And the focus has to be on, we need to give a reasonable importance to, the social science courses. Here I take this opportunity, sir. I am Ranchi. We did revamping of the curriculum and we started liberal arts and science department. And we decided to offer 20 or 25 elective courses such as Socratic dialogue, ethical issues in artificial intelligence, tribes in India, tribal language, water management, sports management, human connect, happiness. So these kind of courses we have decided. Philosophy we have because we have an advantage because IPM students are here. So one key takeaway is that we need to think about how social science can be integrated in B school, space. And there can be a thought to have a liberal arts and sciences. Thank you, sir. I request Professor Rakesh Mohan Joshi, sir, to share his view. Regularly, he appears on many TV channels, all leading TV channels, Indian as well as the foreign TV channels. So I request you, sir, being an expert of, international business and professor at IIFT, what is your take on internationalization strategy?
Thank you, Professor Deepak ji, for inviting me to this August gathering and giving me opportunity to be with the August panel. And thank you so much. We all of us have been associated with higher education and internationalization as well. Incidentally, I also chaired the UGC panel at the time of formation of the new educational policy for the internationalization of higher education, in which Professor Maitri Saab has told that Professor Deepak also contributed a lot as a member, and we interacted with all the universities and the institutes across the country. I think Professor Chaturvedi Saab has told you that the government has done a lot of things to do that, and we also had another panel in which we have come out with a document on global citizenship education. This document was circulated to all the universities and the colleges and was adapted that each one need to be given some sensitization to the internationalization of education. Now I think the things seems rosy or difficult. I am so happy to see the title of this conference. Professor Maitri Saab, heartiest compliments that you have made the title as the deglobalizing word. So word is deglobalizing, and then you re-image in globalization. It's indeed extremely thought-provoking. If you see, I think 3-4 years back, if you say the word is deglobalizing, I am totally confused by what these big academicians say. That, when I was a student, we used to say that all Americans, professor used to say that, think global, act local. Now, I born in India in a very small village. I don't know English. Then you say think global. And this was the concept which I have taught throughout my life. And I was so happy to see Professor saying today that think local, act global. 180-degree change. And you don't question the American professor, you only question the Indian system. And this is where my problem lies. And I may sound bitter. There is a saying, Satyam vadet na priyam, Satyam vadet नानृतम, सच बोले झूठ ना बोले, ना वदेत सत्यम अप्रियम, लेकिन अप्रिय सच ना बोले. तो हुआ ऐसा कि एक दिन धृतराष्ट्र बैठे हुए थे, उनको रात को नींद नहीं आई, तो उन्होंने कहा विदुर को बुलाओ. तो विदुर को बुलाया, तो उन्होंने विदुर से पूछा भाई मुझे आज नींद नहीं आ रही है, क्या करूं? तो विदुर ने कहा सर आप ये बताओ कि मैं आपको बताऊं क्या? तो उन्होंने विदुर ने कहा कि सुलभा पुरुषः राजन सततम प्रियवादिनः अप्रियस्तु पथ्यः वक्ता श्रोता च दुर्लभ. It's easy to find people who say yes sir, yes sir. It's very difficult to find people who come to you and say that you are wrong. And this is the root cause of higher education in India. I am telling you with all responsibility, having interacted with all vice chancellors in this country on internationalization. Now let me come to the data. This professor don't speak without data. For last 10 years, 12 years, the inflow of the foreign students in this country is 48 to 50,000. Outgoing student number every year from 3 lakh to 7 lakh. अगर आपकी एजुकेशन सिस्टम इतना अच्छा है तो इतने बच्चे बाहर क्यों जाते हैं? प्रोफेसर तो लास्ट में मार्क्स देता है ना ट्रेडिशनल, वो एक बात अलग है कि आजकल हम डे टू डे इवैल्यूएशन करते हैं. नाउ आई विल कंसीडर the Indian higher education system evolved to be international when number of inflow of the foreign student exceeds the number of outflow. And it will not increase by saying the sweet catchy words that you publish. Now I think Professor Maitri has been very right to say ACSB, EMBA. I am having a very bright professor. How much value these accreditation adds to the academics. Nobody knows better than you because you have implemented ACSB, and after implementing ACSB, how your standard has gone up. Now, another thing is, You become mad after publishing in A+, but a small professor like me lose incentive even to publish a book. Why, if I publish a book, earlier मेरी royalty 8-10 lakh रुपए आती थी, अब 2 lakh भी नहीं आती है. Why should I publish? So new challenges are coming up, and the other problem is, and therefore, we need to find out new ways to do that. And ultimately, kindly understand, again going to what Professor Pawan has said is, followers can never be the leaders. In case India want to be the leader, it need to evolve its own strength and position itself in a unique way. There are so many things which you have got, nobody has got done. Do you know India has got double the number of English speakers than the Britain has got? ब्रिटेन की तो पॉपुलेशन 8 करोड़ नहीं है, 6.5 करोड़. हमारे अगर 10% पॉपुलेशन भी इंग्लिश बोलती है, हमारे साउथ में तो 40-50% बोलता है. तो it would be not more than 13-14 crore people with a better English than the people in America. If you look into the DPI, digital public infrastructure that India has created, India has got the lowest rate of internet connection in the whole world. And this is which has leveraged. India is probably the only country which has fed more than 80 crore people for 3 years free. No other country. Look at the mass that we have got. In America, in New Orleans, there was a bit, some flood and all that cyclone. And, just look the mismanagement they do. Just look the mismanagement they did in Britain, where they had to change 3 finance ministers in 4 months period. India did not do that. India is amazing. But again, go by him, you need to find out your own strength. And in case you need to make India a global hub of higher education, you need to trust on yourself rather than, हमारा internationalization क्या? International seminar means 80% of the Indian professors based in America you call and conference is international. You are missing the culture. Kindly understand, you are missing the culture, and you are not understanding the significance of the cross-country culture. Incidentally, we were the first to internationalize. IFT started, we started our campus as back as in 2000 in Dubai, and I started my campus in 2000 in Africa, worked across 33 countries. So you need to understand the culture as well. And again you need to trust yourself. आप रोज सुबह उठ के एक मंत्र पढ़िए मेरे साथ. आप कहिए कराग्रे वसते लक्ष्मी, कर मध्य सरस्वती, कर मूले तु गोविंद, प्रभाते कर दर्शनम. Lakshmi lies karagre vasate in your own hand. Kar madhye Saraswati. Saraswati lies in your own hand. And karmule to Govinda, and all the welfare and internationalization lies in your own hand. And every day you get up and say you can do it. The formula we can is not by the President of America. It is Indian formula. Thank you so much. Namaste.
Thank you, sir. So, sir has highlighted the importance of culture, which is informal in nature, but how much culture play a role in internationalization. And he again reinforced the what Professor Jagdish said has said, think local, act global. Thank you, sir. I request Professor Ranjan Banerjee.
Can you hear me at the back? Am I audible? Everybody, am I audible? Okay, good. Okay, now at this point in time, a lot has been said, but let me start. You cannot speak on internationalization strategy in 4 minutes or 5 minutes, so I will make 3 to 4 major points. The first point is, internationalization is a part of a journey to excellence. It is not an end in itself. Your first goal is to build an excellent institution. Internationalization is a part of that strategy. It is not the goal in itself. Second, Deming, who founded the quality movement, was once asked, when do you think the US will catch up with Japan? This was at the time when Japanese cars were beating US cars. And he said, do you think Japan is standing still? If your idea of internationalization is we must do what the Western schools are doing, you can never compete if you are playing catch up. So fundamentally, you must play to your strengths. And what are the strengths of India is what we have to look at. The first strength, India has very unique problems. India has very unique crises and very unique challenges. So the first challenge is, can our researchers address the challenges of our society? Can we identify the top 10 problems which will move this country forward and get our researchers and our faculty to address those challenges? Now, once we look at that, we will realize that we have a problem in our structure. As an example, if you look at a business school in the United States, one of their advantages is that the business school has the best mathematicians in the world in the mathematics department in the university, the best economists in the economics department, while we have built business schools as standalone. Now, given that we have built business schools as standalone, the only option is we need to deepen the collaboration between the university system and the business school system. Business schools becoming universities will not solve that problem, because your biggest departments will still be marketing, finance, etc., etc. So I think one of the things, definitely, research Indian problems. Okay, research Indian problems. I today interview faculty from the top IIMs, and I say, what are you researching? So there was this regulation change by the SEC in the United States, and I am researching it. If you sit in India and you research the US regulatory environment, how are you going to compete with a faculty who's based in the US? While the US faculty member, today people have got a Nobel Prize from the US by researching India, while Indians are researching the US. So let us first of all research issues that matter. This is number one. Number two, companies from India are going to become global. They are competing with the best companies in the world. We need deeper collaboration between Indian academia and Indian industry. And deeper collaboration means that you get out of your current mindset. And the current mindset is, what do we go to industry with? We go to the menu card. मेरे पास internships है, summer placement है, final placement है, guest lecture है. Go and have equal conversations with senior industrialists. Indian industry does not respect Indian academia the way it respects global academia. Right? So how do you earn the respect of Indian industry? By partnering deeply with Indian academia. Okay, and business schools have another problem. We worship Saraswati only at the inauguration. So the rest of the 2 years it is Lakshmi. So, so that is a larger issue, because learning has got compromised to CTC. Okay, so this is one, research. The second is teaching. What did China do? China basically said, let me pick the Chinese who are in the US, double their salary and bring them back to China. India will not be able to do that. So what we have to do is take the best faculty who are trained in India, and they have not got as good a research training as is provided in the West. There's no doubt the Western research training is superior. Get the training from the West to our faculty. Develop our faculty. The third is, let us understand some of the unique problems of today. The MBA itself is at a crisis. Why is the MBA at a crisis? Because the MBA is about the first job and the salary in the first job. While every MBA student should know, you are going to have 3 to 4 distinct careers in your lifetime. Right? So we are not preparing people for the new world, where learning to learn is more important than the first job, number one. Number two, familiarity with technology is very important. And the ability to think across boundaries and think across silos is important. So this is one issue for the MBA. The second issue, there is this word called FOMO, the fear of missing out. Every student today is more insecure, mental health problems are more, because students are always comparing themselves with each other, and they're addicted to this device called the smartphone. Okay, now the question is, how can you create a curriculum which creates a more self-aware student? The West is not doing it, the West will not do it. If you do that, you are doing something which is different by solving the problems of tomorrow. So how do you create, okay, third thing. One of the biggest predictors of student success is the time your faculty willingly spend with students outside the classroom. The more you focus purely on a Western model, faculty will spend less and less time outside the classroom, because that is one more minute directed away from getting one more publication which is valued. So I think we have to change the rules of the game. I think there is scope for innovation in curriculum. There is scope for deeper partnership with industry. And fundamentally, we have to research issues of India, which means I think we have to move from business school to school of management. What is the difference? Business school only tackles the problems of large corporates. Schools of management care about family business. Schools of management care about the social sector. Quality of management is required everywhere in society. If we study, and finally, we need more world-class universities, because when you look at internationalization, where is the US internationalization of education starting? Is it starting with the MBA? It's starting with undergraduate. If people don't come to your country for undergraduate education, they will not come to your country for postgraduate education. So you need to start internationalization at the university level by building more world-class universities. And finally, this thing about Indians going abroad, that's a different problem, because really the problem is, today the rich in India are saying, I don't want my child to go through the complications of quota. I would much rather pay. It is because they don't want them to compete in the JEE system. It is because the cost of competing in India has become so high, and many people in the upper middle class have money. That is the problem. So can you provide affordable and accessible higher education? Let 7 lakh people go. That's not a problem. The problem is, can you at 2 lakhs or 3 lakhs provide a world-class education? That has to be your direction. Because if you do that, then people from Africa will come. If you do that, people from other countries will come. I think that has to be the strategy. Otherwise, what is internationalization? We are going to create 6 rich universities for our rich kids, which will copy what the West is doing. That's not an internationalization strategy. That is the rich doing education by the rich, for the rich, of the rich. That's not the idea.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir has highlighted many issues. I would like to comprehend it. And it reminds me, Michael Porter, there is no internationalization strategy, there is no M&A strategy. Internationalization is a component of strategy, and strategy is something which we call a set of choices to have a competitive advantage. The second point he highlighted is the Indianization in teaching, research, both. And he also touched upon very popular paradox in B school space we have, management versus business. So he advocated and he suggested that we need to focus more on management, school of management. Thank you so much, sir. So we can have Q&A, and a couple of questions can be taken up and followed by the next round of discussion. So house is open, and I request you to be very, very specific and also mention whom you would like to expect the answer.
Okay. Very good afternoon to Professor Maitre. My question directly to you, sir, as you have discussed about that the research forum and the research journal that should be published by India in a good way, right? I have done my PhD in ancient history and management, sir. That has been published in Sodh Ganga long back 2016. After that, there is no discussion happened on that. Some of the things have been taken by Bihar government.
Be specific.
Yes, I'm asking, sir, just sir. So that's why I want to understand, because all of you are an NEP member, as you have done. What about Sodh Ganga? That is a very big chunk of theses published by Indian authors. Not from IIT and IIMs, they are putting there, but a lot of things are there. So please highlight on that, sir, how we can use our research into the global forum, what you are talking about, internationalization of education as an Indian system.
What is your questions? Be specific.
How the Sodh Ganga and FlyNet can be taken by the world and the Indian university and the Indian institution.
Fine. Well taken.
Yeah,
please.
Thank you very much. You see, Sodh Ganga and InflibNet, so these are the part of our regulator they have created for the higher education institutions. So now the question is, if Sodh Ganga doesn't act as a magnet, then people will not refer. So that is what Ranjanji rightly said. Whatever our documents are there, the database is there, how to make them more relevant to the society, relevant to the business, relevant to the government or policy making. If such kind of research, 5 stakeholders for the society, our community, business, policy making, government, if our research is useful, and its impact is there on any one of the 5 stakeholders, obviously people will refer. But today what is happening is we are on the name of, on the top class journals, A+, A star, whatever you say. Some of them probably impact, if you look into that, I don't want to count impact means, citations. Impact, real impact on the society. Responsible research I'm talking about. So that is missing in India and even in abroad. Whatever you say, management science, A star journal, assumption we publish a paper. And then practically if you want to implement, nothing can be done because you have done so many assumptions to arrive at that conclusion. So that is where the definition of A star, whatever the Western, probably less relevant to us. I think it is my personal opinion. We have to publish a paper which is responsible paper, responsible research, impactful research. And you need not to bother that whether other will refer or not. Definitely everybody will refer. If you create, piece out of that, definitely many people will refer. But our focus is only on quantity, as some of them earlier said. I think Shiv Kumarji said, number of papers, number of publications, not focusing on quality of publication. Still it is lagging. Many of the top institutions, they don't have A category journal, they have C category journal according to ABDC. Why it is happening? Because focus is not on impact. So if you focus on impactful research, obviously that research will act as a magnet, many will refer, and probably that will be the reference point. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next question, please. From audience.
So, this question is to Dr. Banerjee and Dr. Chaturvedi. How do you think most of the students go from in India? Also because there's a lot of funding available abroad, which is not that much, those many funding venues are not available. How do you think masters linked with research and research assistantship and other funding sources can help internationalization in this perspective? A research-driven masters or research combined with masters combined with PhDs, these kind of programs can help in internationalization. That's what my question is. Thank you, sir.
Yes, it is possible. I think lots of students are going abroad from India to pursue research-driven master's program and PhD program. But there are international sponsoring body and the scholarships they are giving in billions. Around 16 billion US dollar scholarships are every year granted to students who are going abroad on the basis of several criteria. So if we want to have foreign students from any part of the world in our universities to pursue master's course or PhD course, we will have to develop scholarships. And in India, so far only 40,000 students are coming. I think it is only possible because of Government of India, Ministry of Education and Indian Council of Cultural Relations. They are giving scholarships in thousands. So without scholarship, international mobility of students is not possible.
So, first of all, when you look at the students going abroad, you largely find it has changed. I went from IIT Bombay in 1987. That time in my batch in IIT Bombay, 80% of the people went to the US for a master's and they went with scholarships. Now you will see that the master's level scholarships in the US have dried up. So you see the large number of people who are going to the US are largely, if you look at the elite cities, if you look at the IB, IGCSE, those kind of schools, they are going first for undergraduate and their parents are paying. Okay, so you will have to actually look at data, but you will find that the volume is not there. I think it's a very good idea to have scholarships and for research in India. I think the area where you will get the most immediate traction is in the social sciences. Because if you look at places like Berkeley, there are people who want to come to India. I mean, there's a gentleman called George Reyes you will have heard of, who is based in India doing research around social problems. So I think if you have even our top universities, if through collaborations, even if you don't say masters, if you say let them do their projects in India and have 6 months or 1 year and have funding for that 6 months or 1 year, that will be a start. Once they experience that ecosystem and once you experience the benefits, it will go. The second part of research, I think, is that faculty are not trained in advising. So you need a critical mass of faculty who are good advisors. So where we need to invest is the best researchers in the world, and that is affordable because you are training 50 faculty with one researcher, right? Get the best researchers in the world to come and train your faculty. That investment can then be multiplied to your students. Getting the best researchers in the world to come in your country and stay is also possible. But that's very difficult to scale because it's not cost effective.
Next question, please. Yes.
My question to the delegate, distinguished panelist is that I have a feeling that most people going to West, not because West is good, most primarily because of our slavish mindset. And that is the reason most of us going because of we have money. The fact that Mr. Pawan Singh raised in his argument that social science has not been taught properly in our courses, not being included in our courses. The time is there that we include social psychology, psychology, philosophy, all these things, integrate the course and make it rich. My question here is that, are the BU schools doing, playing on the strength that they have, or simply imitating the West? Pawan Singh, you can give this answer because...
Actually, I wanted to say two things there briefly. That social science orientation of management students is needed, but developing the social science faculty itself, which can be at par with any university of the world, is also possible because Professor Ranjan is saying, all my colleagues are saying here, India has unique problem. Try to solve the problem. So these are two issues. Social science input for management students, and number two, social science faculty of universities itself becoming world class. Two issues. Now, to end, I will just express my concern again. Okay, when you think about education, you feel happy. When you feel, you become unhappy. Okay, one thing that NEP missed writing in its document, I wish they should have written, that we will give back the glory lost of graduation level education that they missed writing. Because I know when I was doing graduation, I was in early 80s. And graduation degree was highly, highly respected. And even now in foreign countries also, many students, they say, I have done graduation. Enough. I don't want to do post-graduation. My life will be taken care by my knowledge that I have gathered. In India, graduation degree has been de-dignified. This NEP missed writing. And secondly, I'll say, last point, there is difference between publication and research. Now what happens, when we do publication, we want to make our biodata longer. वो आपके पर्पस का होता है. India cannot be world class, or my institution cannot be world class, my family cannot think at world class level, unless we identify an issue with which society is struggling, with which family is struggling, with which individual is struggling, give solution. And that's why it is said that research cannot happen without joy. What gives you joy? Suppose there is one kind of problem that attracts your attention, you want to do something. So publication is just like shadow following a walking person. If you keep following your own shadow, where you are going? You keep going in your direction, shadow will follow. Publication should be actually the outcome and byproduct. Naturally, as shadow follows the person walking, your publication should be actually a byproduct of your interest that you take into the cause of humanity or the world apart from humanity also. बांग्ला में कहावत थी, सबार ऊपरे मानुष सत्तो, ताहार ऊपरे नहीं. Above everything, the cause of humanity is the having the most importance. So, हम हिंदी में कहेंगे कि क्या मेरा दिल धड़कता है किसी समस्या को लेके अगर धड़कता है, मेथोडोलॉजी लगाइए, समस्या का समाधान खोजिए, पब्लिश करिए, अपने आप काम होगा।
I just want to add two things to that. I completely agree with everything he is saying. Many people come into academia with a sense of idealism. They want to serve the student. Within 10 years, you often see that sense of idealism is gone. Why? Because it is ironic, it is very difficult to practice what I'm going to say. The only way to consistently achieve measurables is to focus on the non-measurables. We are obsessed with a few numbers which we are trying to chase, but the drivers of those numbers are culture. The drivers of the numbers are time spent. The drivers of those numbers are caring for students. Incidentally, since we are talking about business schools, and none of us is talking about this, I believe the biggest problem facing business schools in India today is that students at our top schools walk into a school and within 2 months they are interviewing for summer internships. If we do not change or delay the timing of our summer internships, then you can do all the curricular innovation. Students are not taking your curriculum seriously because they come in and they're thinking about the first job. So I think if we want to make learning the focus, all the IIMs should get together and we should approach industry and say, don't do it in October, do it in February. Industry can still survive. And we will get students taking our curriculum seriously for 8 months. Learning will become more important. We will develop students in the right direction. This is something that has happened over time. In 89 when we did the MBA, the academics was first. Today it is not. People care about academics only to the extent that CGPA determines the McKinsey shortlist. That's the reality.
We can't take more questions because we have to proceed for lunch.
Excellent. Thank you, sir.
Right, what we have discussed, there are few good points which can be as a policy recommendation. The very good point was recommended by Professor Banerjee, the academic calendar. There has been a discussion in country financial year. We need to relook what is the appropriate financial year. And the same way there can be a kind of advocacy and suggestion. Academic year, at least for B school, that can be re-examined and some kind of flexibility can be requested. There was very interesting discussion that we need to also think about the identity. Is it Indian Institute of Management or Indian Institute of Business? So management or the business, that identity we have to discuss and that has to be captured in the future plan. One thing where we had a consensus, all the panelists, because there has to be Indianization of research, Indianization teaching, and we need to find out the Indian problems, because Indian problems and Indian solution we need to work upon. There was interesting discussion on the social science, and we need to incorporate social science in the teaching because management is closely related to social science. And there can be experiment to launch, to introduce different areas or different type of courses. One possibility is the liberal arts and sciences. One idea that has come up to have a kind of criterion to how much the knowledge contributed by country, and that can be one of criterion of measuring the internationalization. So thank you very much, and I take this opportunity to thank all the respected panelists being with us. Thank you so much.
Now, I request Professor Deepak Kumar Srivastava, Director IIM Ranchi, to felicitate our esteemed speakers. So, I request Director Sir to please present memento to Professor Pawan Kumar Singh, Director IIM Trichy. Now, I request Professor Deepak Srivastava to present Professor Harivansh Chaturvedi, Director, BIMTech Noida. I request Director Sir to please present the memento to Professor Rakesh Mohan Joshi, Director, IIPM Bangalore. Now the memento is being presented to Professor Anup Singh, Director, Nirma University, Ahmedabad. Now we felicitate Professor Ranjan Banerjee, Director, BITSOM, Mumbai, and founding VC of Nayanta University, Hyderabad. We are also thankful to Professor Bhim Raya Mehtri, Director, IIM Nagpur, for his kind participation. Now we shall be dispersing for lunch break. There will be 50 minutes lunch break, and post lunch we'll once again assemble here at 1:25 and 2:25, and there will be a CO panel discussion then.